We'll edit that part out.
You're right.
Look at it, a high-level professionalism right now.
Of course. All right, I think we'll go ahead and begin. Jayson Street, author of the book Dissecting the Hack, The Forbidden Network, plus creator of the site HTTP, Dissecting the Hack. I'm an actor. DissectingTheHack.com. He's spoken at DEF CON, BrewCon, UConn, and at several other cons and colleges on a variety of information security subjects. His life story can be found on Google under Jayson E. Street. He's a highly carbonated speaker who has partaken of pizza from Beijing to Brazil. He does not expect anybody to still be reading it. He doesn't know me very well. But if they are, please note he was chosen as one of Time's Persons of the Year for 2006.
Thank you, everyone. The sort of the byline about that is everybody was chosen as Time's Person of the Year for 2006. It's like a Time cover, it said you, and I thought that was hilarious, so I added that. I was actually giving a talk sometime in Malaysia, and the guy was reading the bio, and he saw that, and he was just like so honored. He was like, and I didn't have the heart to actually tell him and explain to him further what that meant. But it was like, so, it's like, that's me. I would like to, start off with a little funny slide while I'm getting ready. It's like hopefully people. My brother, who's here, actually said that was a funnier one that y'all would relate to more in Houston than the other ones I chose. So if you don't like it, it's his fault. I passed the thing very well. This is the talk. Securing the internet, you're doing it wrong. Surprise! This is not regular talk. This is actually an hour-long rant that I cleverly disguised as a 45-minute talk. And so I expect, just expect a lot of ranting. That's not the bio that you need to know about me. Quite frankly, the bio is actually, I make mistakes. I'm a guy who has failed a lot of different ways, very creatively, and I'm going to talk about, and when I talk about things like that, when I talk about things that I've done wrong, and I talk about things in this industry segment that I see that are going wrong, it's not saying that I'm projecting it to you. I'm telling you things that I've done. Every single thing that I talk about here, I'm guilty of. So it's not something, that I'm pointing the finger at you. It's like I'm, showing you, it's like, don't screw up as bad as I have. Another thing is, I'm going to be sometimes I get really ranty, I get very passionate. It's like I'm, screaming at you and failing. So I didn't want to be like that, rough. So I thought, well, what can I do to soften it up a little bit, make it a little bit more relaxing? Oh, memes. Thank you, Jewel, for the idea. So mostly all the slides are memes. But then I thought, I've given this talk in several different countries, and not everybody's up on the meme culture as others. So I was like, I put into the left of every meme, you will see what you need to Google to figure out what that meme is. So then afterward you go, oh, okay, that was sort of funny. It's like, and you understand. So that's that. The other thing is, this is a talk that actually I started back in 2005 talking about. It's like I gave this is a picture of me giving a talk at University of Advanced Technology in Arizona in 2005. And it was called Selling Elephant Whistles, the security process and getting upper management buy-in. I've always been defense, I've always been passionate about defense. I was actually told at a conference back in 2005, Jayson, we don't do defensive talks. Thank you for trying. So, yay! So I started doing some offensive talks, and I'm really good at being, very offensive. Ask anybody that knows me. And so it's like, so I started doing that, and then finally it's like, this year came around. It's like, I've done a really good, successful offensive talks, and I was like, I wonder if I could slip in, a defensive talk and see if anybody notices. And it's like, they did, because I didn't go to as many conferences this year, which was a good thing, but still. But this talk is basically called Selling Elephant Whistles. It was based off of a really bad joke. And it was basically the joke is a guy walking down the street, and he sees this man with a cardboard shoebox that says elephant whistles, $20. Guy goes up to the man and he says, $20 for this cheap plastic whistle, why would I want to buy that whistle? And the man says, no, these are elephant whistles. The pitch and the tone is so horrible to elephants, they won't be around it. If they try to charge or stampede, they'll stop. It's like, you won't see an elephant 2 miles radius of this whistle. And the guy goes, well, how do I know it's working? And the man looks around and says, do you see any elephants? I stated it was a horrible joke at the beginning, okay? It's like, I had full disclosure up front. So it's like, but isn't that what we do with upper management? Isn't at the end of the year, third, fourth quarter comes up and you start going to upper management and you're saying,
oh, by the way, we need another $100,000 for this defensive box, we need another $100,000 for this device, and if we get all those, we put those all on things, guess what happens? You won't see anything happen like you did this year, because we're doing such a good job. We have to prove the negative. It's like in the CIA movie, the recruit. Our successes are secret, our failures are public. So how do we get that? How do we try to sell upper management into the process that we need if we're actually showing things that don't occur? And so there was a breakdown, so I gave a talk on that, and I'm going to sort of about that, but I'm also going to talk about some other things here this time. Also, like I said, I'm using memes, but another reason why I like to use memes, because I sort of see memes as a great analogy to information security. Because we were trying to find so many different ways to say almost the same kind of thing and stuff, but we're trying to figure out that one way to make it where someone will click and understand, oh, I should patch a system. Oh, Java is not the most secure thing in the world. It's like, it's like, how do we figure that out? It's like, maybe I shouldn't open up that PDF. It's like, so we have to keep trying to figure out different ways to do that. And so that's the same thing with memes. So the first part, like I was talking about the selling levels, is talking about upper management. We have a problem in this industry, okay, is the pointy-haired boss from Gilbert. That's how information security likes to think of upper management. That's how we would like to think upper management is. That's because we like the crutch. We like to be able to say upper management is stupid because of the fact we don't really want to know how to deal with them properly. That's our fault. It is not upper management's job to communicate and learn learn the technology and the terms of information security. They are running a business. That's what they do. If they don't run the business very successfully, they no longer have a business where they get bailed out. But still, something bad sometimes happens. So it's up to information security to learn how to talk and to communicate to upper management. And we cannot learn how to communicate to them properly. We cannot learn how to address upper management if we don't stop looking at them like they're idiots and coming from that standpoint. It's never going to get better because you're always going to go with that assumption. You're always going to have that disdain. You're always going to have that contempt. How are you able to actually figure out that maybe this guy is intelligent, this guy knows what he's talking about, he just doesn't know this part of it? And that's why it's my job to educate them. It's my job to show them that. One of the ways that I figured out that we can do this, and one of the ways that I've learned, I've tried to develop and try to enhance, he said, which Marcus J. Carey actually talked about way more detailed stuff in his earlier talk, was creating situational awareness. I think one of the key things that we need to do to help upper management understand the process in a way that they can understand, not just that we can understand, is creating situational awareness. In other words, trying to break into your own place, checking to see where the locks are, trying to see what's going on in your own environment so they can say, oh, that's bad. I call that creating a high-threat, low-impact event. It's a high-threat event because of the fact, it could take down your company, which we can all establish is a bad thing. But it also creates a low impact because it's being done by someone who is trusted in the company, or they have an NDA, or you're doing a third-person verification, with the pen testing team or red team. So you have contracts and things in place to protect your company. So you're creating a high threat but a low impact event for them. One of the ways that I created one of these events was actually by sort of accident, but it was a good way to create situational awareness that I don't recommend everybody else does. But I first started this job, and it was I just got into the job. It was only like maybe 4 months. I was into it. And the CIO comes up to me and says, Jason, I want you to help me with this practical joke and stuff, this April Fool's joke. If you know me, it's like music to my ears. It's like, that's awesome. I'm totally in on board on that stuff, So they want me to create an April Fool's joke. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a phishing site. It's like email stuff, for the CEO of the company, the president of the company, and act like we got phished. He didn't know me very well. I'm very thorough. So I hosted a web server on my website. I have static IP addresses. So on one of my computers, I hosted a website that I totally scraped our site off of, put it on there, put an iframe that would actually pull the data and stuff if you entered to it on the site. I then crafted an email from Lieutenant James O'Neill, and stuff, retired Air Force guy, because I was watching Stargate at the time. It's like, who then, on a fake account, who then forwarded a phishing email that I actually placed, that I actually created as well, that went to the fake website. And then I forwarded that to the president. On Friday, April Fool's, at 8 o'clock in the morning. 8:30 in the morning, I'm in the CIO's office with the president of the company and the COO, who for some reason was supposed to be read in on the joke and wasn't. So we're sitting there, and the CIO is going to him saying, well, if you notice this and this and this, it's like, this seems to be a sort of serious issue and stuff, And like I said, it's like the CEO is like not very pleased right now, stuff, and because the guy, James Linnell was a little bit of a jerk and stuff, sort of frightened him with what he said. Sorry. And so we were like panicking, trying to figure out what you're trying to, and it's that point, the point where you go, ta-da, April Fools, right? So, and that ta-da moment was handing him the letter, saying, oh, and here's the DNS resolution and stuff, It's like, and it had the name of one of the guys that was in on the joke, who's a notorious prankster. And that was the, ta-da moment, right? Remember I mentioned I'm pretty thorough? I created the DNS records exactly the way they're supposed to be and stuff, and actually added his information and his address and stuff, into it, and his phone numbers and stuff. So the CEO gets it, and he goes, oh, so he was compromised too. It's like, we might need it. And then me and the CIO gave that look. You know the look. You know the look you give, when you understand the joke, and I understand the joke, and you understand the other guy's not getting the joke. Yeah, we gave that look, right? And then the CIO had to go and say, well, it also could be because it's April Fool's Day. CEO was like this. Oh, April Fools. Okay. Stands up, walks out. The beauty of this is it was Friday. I had 2 whole days to work on my resume. So I was really happy about that, So it's like, so I used those 2 days very well, made sure everything got polished and stuff, It's like, and I was doing good. I come in on Monday, my badge still worked. Yes. It's like, and I go up and talk to the CEO. Not pleased with my job. And then I go up and I talk to him and I explain to him, I say, I want you to know something though. It's like, that first, thanks for not firing me. 2, our IDS alerts went off. Our IDS alerts went off when I was scraping our site. You know what those 2 alerts were? Actually, I don't remember now, but they were 2 low-level alerts. Never paid attention to them. They were low-level alerts, never dealt with them. Guess what happened? I was doing something bad, and those alerts went off. Where did the priority change on those alerts now? I created so much situational awareness at that instance. We created a phishing incident response plan at our company. And I'm not even joking. 3 months later, we had our first phishing attempt. Legitimate. But the first question was, Jayson? And I'm like, wasn't me. That wasn't me. It's like, we not only responded well to that incident stuff, and everybody's like, not one customer lost money. We were able to contact everybody that was hosting because they were using this old Linux vulnerability and patching stuff, to host it on the compromised sites. We were able to contact the web providers, show them how to fix their sites, and people went to jail on that. Well, see, one of the things I do is defense. It's like, and I don't like people going after my stuff. I will find you. So we were able to do that. That would not have happened if that really lousy April Fool's joke, didn't blow up in our face so bad. It's like, it would create situational awareness. It made it real to the executive. They don't see the theory. They don't see how the attacks could possibly happen. They saw that. They felt that. I do not suggest doing that. But it is something that you need to know so I can create different kinds of situational. Another thing is that I really just drives me nuts is the whole, oh, give the executive a pie chart. Oh, give them pretty pictures. Oh, give them a graph. If it makes my network more secure, it's going to be a pie chart, I'm going to make a pie chart. If it makes my network more secure, I'll bake them a pie. Do you know what those metrics are? Numbers. Those help you. How many emails came in through your gateway? How many of them were spam? How many had viruses attached? How many were mitigated at the gateway? How many were mitigated at the desktop? How many firewall breaches did you get, or attacks? How many were stopped at the firewall? How many IDSs picked up on it? Those are all numbers. Those are all numbers that help you, because the more metrics that you gather, the more aware you are of your network, the more you understand what's going on your network. You should love metrics. You should love collecting that data, because at the end of the year, you're going to go to your boss and say, I'm not giving you an elephant whistle, I'm giving you these charts, these numbers, showing you where we've done it, what's going on, how it's been raising, and what the threats are going on, and how we need to pay more money to mitigate these risks. That helps you. That helps you learn your environment, and it helps sell to the upper management stuff, when you need to get more things done. We have to understand that those numbers mean something. Pie charts are not a way to dismiss executives. Pie charts are an asset and a tool you can use to help educate your upper management. You need to start using them that way. Another thing that we need to do and stuff, is how we talk to them and how we communicate with them. LinkedIn, thank you so much. It's like RSA, great job, in failing. Sony, well, ugh. It's like, but seriously, what did those do? One of the things I like to say is a wise man learns from his mistake. A wiser man learns from someone else's. And by golly, they've given us a lot of lessons to learn from somebody else, haven't they? I mean, especially LinkedIn. LinkedIn's one of the best ones, people, because LinkedIn's like the Facebook for executives. Every single one of those guys were impacted directly with that. Because mostly every single one of them's network login was the same password as their LinkedIn account. They're not going to admit it, but they're going, I'm going to do everything now. That teaches them, and that shows them. You go up to them. We have it every 2 weeks at my job. We have a management meeting with the VPs and above in IT and security. On the front page of the agenda are 2 stories. And trust me, we've never had to go to the same story twice in something about security breach or something going wrong on computers. It's like there's 2 stories about some kind of compromise or some kind of vulnerability or some kind of attack that's going on right now in the news. What they read it and stuff, sometimes they'll just look, but it shows them this is not something that's going away. This shows them, let's not beat these guys, let's learn from these mistakes. So at all times, when something like this goes on, this is a way for you to communicate to your management. Did you hear about that story and stuff, It's like, luckily that's not going to happen to us, because this is what we do to mitigate that. And explain it to them. And if you can't go to your upper management, your CIO and stuff, and explain something like this and go in and just talk to him and give him this information, then you need to start creating that rapport and stuff, so you can. Because you have to have that kind of communication. You have to have that kind of access. Not every, I'm not talking about the junior level, like someone in your department has to have that kind of access. You have to be able to do that. It's like, because that helps them and that keeps them informed, and that's what you're doing it for. You're trying to communicate and you're trying to make sure that you're helping out your upper management by giving them these things. Instead of just talking at them or creating something and writing them off, you're actually communicating with them. But one of the other problems we have is what I like to call the sheriff syndrome. Sheriff syndrome is pretty easy to grasp, okay? You get into a building, you say, first day on the job, okay, everybody, I'm here to clean up this mess, I'm here to secure you. Shut that down, cut that, you don't need to be here. Yeah, remove that. I'm here, I'm the good guy. I'm here to make sure, it's like, I actually told a CIO once, I kid you not, I was like, I'm here to tell you the things you don't want to hear. And I was a little bit more pompous actually when I said it, but still, it's like, that's how I said it. Because I was the good guy. Remember what I said, these are all the mistakes I've made, people. It's like, because that's what I thought was supposed to be happening. I'm there to just eliminate risk. My job is to make sure that you're 100% protected. How does that work out? No. My job, I have come to realize, is not to eliminate risk. That is nowhere near my job description, is to eliminate risk.
My job is to mitigate risk. My job is to mitigate as much risk as possible. My job is to then, after I've mitigated that risk, report what's the risk that's left over to upper management, and then what they do is they try to find out how much risk they can offset. They then offset risk by insurance, by vendors, third-party vendors, SLAs. They then offset risk. And then guess what happens after that? We accept it. We have to learn to accept risk. No matter how hard I try, people still feel that, the internet's necessary for business. So they won't let me get it out of the company. We have to learn to accept a certain amount of risk. Mitigate as much as you can. Offset what's left over. And then you're just going to have to learn to accept. You got to accept it. I accept it by drinking lots of Diet Pepsi and stuff, I'm playing WoW. But it's like, everybody else has different coping mechanisms. But at some point, you're going to have to learn that you're going to need to accept risk. So, and another way that I look at it is how we're communicating and how we're going after that with our upper management. It's like, our job is not to go to upper management and explain to them, it's like, this is wrong, fix it. If I see my executive running toward the cliff, my job is not to tackle him. I can't tackle him and keep him from running off that cliff. That's not my job. My job is to scream, dude, cliff, over there, stop. And then he's going to go and say, he's going to keep running. I'm like, no, I'm good. And then I got to run beside him and stuff, and I'm going to say, dude, you're running toward a cliff. Here's a parachute for $500. You'll enjoy the scenery, it'll be a nice view. Here's an umbrella for $5. Very poppin', happy thoughts. Maybe you'll succeed. It's like, who knows? It's like, but pick one. You have to give them the options. You have to show them where the risk is. And then you know what he's going to do? Sometimes he's going to jump. My job's not even to get upset about that. That happens. My job is to accept that. He accepted that risk. It's not my job to stop it. It is my job to report it and then to observe the aftermath and maybe clean up afterwards, depending if it hit rocks or not. But it's like, but that's what happens. That's going to happen. It's like if we don't properly communicate to them where those risks are, where those cliffs are, why are we surprised when they run off? So the key thing is we have to learn how to better communicate with our upper management. We have to make sure that they understand why communicating with upper management is so important. It's like, why? Because they don't ever have to learn what TCP/IP means. We have to learn how to communicate what TCP/IP means in a way that they can understand it. Who can describe, the reason why you have to have a secure wireless access point? Do you explain this stuff, about, someone can jack into the network, or, can actually, go and circle off their access point and mask themselves or identities? Or do you explain this stuff, to the fact it's like, well, if you have a wireless access point and it's open, it's like having the doors open into your house and the lights on. People know that they can just come on in and they can mess with stuff, and maybe steal your wallet. Are you explaining it in terms they understand? You have to learn how to do that. They've got so many all these other parts of their business. They don't understand all that. They've got people for that are communicating to them the decisions, the information, so they can make the decisions to keep their business going. Business doesn't exist for security to happen. Security exists, so business can happen. Another thing we have about a business that we just love to degrade is users. I am so tired of hearing stupid user this. Stupid user clicked on a link. Stupid user went to a website. Stupid information security didn't properly train their employees. That's what happens. That's what happens. We give the car keys to a guy who's never driven a car, doesn't have a driver's license on his first day at work, and we act surprised when he wrecks it. Why is that? These employees are intelligent. They know what they're doing. They know how to do their business. Okay? If you don't think an employee is intelligent, if you don't think an employee is smart, take solitaire off the desktop.
See how quick that sucker comes back. You think an employee's not creative? Block Facebook. See, I was actually at a DC 214 meeting, never seen this guy before. The only reason why he was there was he was learning because it's like his company blocked Facebook, and he wanted to find some hackers to help him circumvent it so he can get back to Facebook. He sought out a hacker meeting trying to circumvent it. That takes research and dedication. That's some serious dedication there. That's not a stupid employee, people. Lazy maybe, but not stupid. And actually took a little bit of effort. It wasn't that lazy. I mean, seriously. I mean, get a freaking iPhone or something. But you know what else he did? But you know what else? You see that stuff. You know, you say like these stupid employees. What about freaking Bob? Bob in accounting, you know? We've taken out solitaire. You can't get to Facebook. And I've seen these occurrences before. Well, what am I going to do? Because I might have to actually work. Well, let me click on that one neighborhood. Well, that's interesting. Look at all these servers. Let me click through these servers. HR? There's an HR server? I wonder what's up there. Oh, everyone read writable shares. Let me look at some more. Oh, payroll? Awesome. Let me look. Susie's making how much? Where was the hack? Where was the elite hacker skills on that? There have been more events and incidents of security breaches in an internal company given out because of boredom than maliciousness. It's like, because that's what happens. So these aren't stupid employees. We're just not educating them properly. You know, well, how do you know how we try to educate employees? We try to teach employees how to protect company data. We try to teach the employees why it's so important to protect company data. These employees are getting their credit card numbers stolen online at home. These employees don't know how to protect their wireless access point at home. These employees don't know how to protect themselves from scams on eBay and Amazon. They don't know where their children are going online. Why do they care about your data? Stop trying to teach your employees how to protect your data. Teach your employees how to protect themselves. Start having lunch and learns and teaching your employees how to protect their wireless access point at home. Try to show your employees how to protect themselves online and their identity. Show your employees how people approach people on Facebook and Twitter, so try to get in relationships with them online. You start protecting your employees by showing them how to protect themselves and be defensive and just naturally, suspicious, naturally protective, and guess what happens? They bring that to work. They still don't care about your data, but now they're actually more protectively minded. You create the habits and then benefit from them. Don't try to get them to protect your stuff. So you have to understand that they are smart. They can be trained. We've just gone the wrong way around on training them. Another thing we got to do is we got to empower them. We got to show them that they actually matter. Do you realize that every single employee in your company is part of the information security team? Do they? From the CEO to the mailroom, do these employees know that they're part of your information security team? You have access to one of the best IDS systems in the world. Because those guys are going about doing their business every day. They know when something's suspicious. Do they know who to call? Do they know who to contact when they get a suspicious email? I've got a guy at my job right now. He sends me every single freaking piece of spam email he gets. He sent me email from his home address, forwarded it to me just so I'd be aware. I get a dozen a week. You know what I say every single time? Thank you. That's great. I'll look into it. Thanks for helping me out there. And you know what he does? He feels good about that. He lets other people know that he's helping the information security department. Other people are going, wait, he's in the information security department. He's spreading that word. We need to start training our IDS system. You train your network IDS system. Why aren't you training your human IDS system? Why aren't you fine-tuning that? Why aren't you showing them and building a rapport with them and letting them know that they're part of something? Instead of trying to treat them like a liability, make sure they understand that they're an asset. That's how we need to approach the employees. That's how we need to start communicating with them and getting them involved in the process. By doing that, they feel like they're part of something. They're more, once again, still don't care about our data, but they're actually working. They're like, okay, I'm part of something. If I see something suspicious, I'm going to report on it. And they get a pleasant response back. That's how you fine-tune it. You've got to learn how to social engineer your employees before they get socially engineered. It's just as simple as that. Another thing you got to do is you got to have enforcement. That's my Houston slide right there. Sorry, I couldn't resist. I'm trolling. We also have to do enforcement. I'm not just talking about negative enforcement, but positive enforcement. We had a lady who found a USB drive in the parking lot. She didn't plug it into a computer. She didn't just throw it away. She didn't keep it. She gave it to security. She contacted security and returned it in. We gave her like a 4-paragraph write-up in our monthly newsletter, explaining what she did and why it was good and how different attacks like that happen. Do you know what that does? That makes her feel great. You know, it's like, oh, look at me. But then also, guess what else happens? You got Bob in accounting. That freaking Susie. she's like chairman of the United Way. She's doing the cancer walk. Oh, now she just written up freaking finding a USB drive. I can do stuff like that. I can do security stuff. I'll make sure no one piggybacks after me. I can get my name written up. Sorry if there's any Bobs out here. So you create that kind of positive enforcement, that positive competition. And yes, you do other kinds of enforcement. We actually do a walkthrough every floor, every building that we have, in every state that we're in. We will walk through the floor at least once a year. And what we do is we sweep the floor and we look under keyboards. That's it. We look under keyboards, look around the monitor. And it's like, and we tell people instead of, no, hey, we're looking for passwords. At first, unfortunately, yes, we found some. It's like, it happens. It's like every once in a while we still find them. It's like, but you know what else we're doing? We're visible. All of a sudden, that nefarious, information security that's in the virtual world stuff, is at their